Arknights infield gameplay is too simple. Arknights infield gameplay is extremely brain dead. Arknights infield gameplay is worse than Genshin Impact. It has no depth. These were the takes I've seen on my previous video when I talked about my first impressions to Arknights infield. And I appreciate you guys for, expressing your thoughts about the game. Nobody is wrong when it comes to their opinion on the game. So I appreciate you guys for sharing your thoughts. A lot of you guys were actually respectful in the previous video. I thought there was going to be a war zone in the comment section, but you guys were pretty chill. So I'm actually proud of you guys. But in today's video, we're going to take a look at Arknights Infield's gameplay, and I'm pretty much going to show you guys two characters that I'm using as of to right now. And these two units, man, their gameplay is actually satisfying, and this gives me hope in a way that when it comes to Arknights Infield's gameplay, there will be a lot of depth later on in the future. Now, of course, I might be wrong, I might be coping, sure, but I feel like this game has the potential to go deeper than what we have today. So before we get right into it, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, hit the post notification bell. I would really appreciate it. And let's hop right into it. Now, before we get down into the nitty and gritty, let's go ahead and talk about the basics. All right, I want you guys to have a basic understanding before we continue. So you have 3 character skill points. When I use my skill, you guys can see I consume a character skill point when I use my character skill. You have 3 character skill points in total, and the way that you recover some skill points is by, of course, spamming basic attack, and every single time you land the final strike, you gain some skill point. I'm gonna say skill point energy, right? And when the enemy is about to attack you, if you dodge at the right time, for example, a perfect dodge, you also recover some skill point energy as well. And enemies will also have this thing where like they're charging up their attack. So when they charge their attack, boom, you attack when you see that red circle closing in. That is pretty much how you interrupt them. So we're gonna keep attacking him. Look at that. When I do a perfect dodge there, I recover some skill points. Interrupt that. Boom. Keep attacking him. Perfect dodge again. There it is. And last but not least, we have the arts reaction system, where you're pretty much inflicting debuffs on the enemy. You have combustion, electrification, solidification, and corrosion. And you also have arts infliction, where you have 4 elements of arts inflictions, which is heat infliction, electric infliction, crowd infliction, and nature infliction. So that's pretty much the basics when it comes to Arknights Infield gameplay, right? You have arts reaction, arts infliction, perfect dodging, skill points, interruption. Those are like the fundamentals, and it's extremely easy. And I think that's fine, because in order for you to pretty much add more complex systems in the future, you have to understand the basics first, right? You have to understand the basics. You have to understand the fundamentals before you add layers of complexity. So now that we got the fundamentals out the way, let's go ahead and talk about the 2 units. So we have the administrator and Li Fong. I kid you guys not, all right? They gave me 2 dupes on Li Fong. I did like some single pulls on the standard banner, and I think when I reached, I think 3, like I did like 3 single summons, they gave me Li Fong again, and now I have like 1 dupe on him. This shit made me crash out because I wanted to get last right, I wanted to get last right, but nah, they said we want you to use a physical team Faros. But anyways, we got 1 dupe on Li Fong, and that's why I'm like, you know what? We got 1 dupe on this character. Also using this weapon as well. I might as well invest in this character. Might as well. And honestly, I don't regret it, because Li Fong, his gameplay is just very satisfying, and it shows that when it comes to Arknights Infield's gameplay, there's a lot more to it than just spamming character skills and combo skills, and that's pretty much it. Like, this character is proof that there's a lot going on in the game. You just have to put in the effort to actually understand what's going on. And a perfect example is, of course, his combo skill, right? So for his combo skill, every character has a combo skill. You press E, boom, that's a combo skill. But you actually have to trigger that combo skill. So for Li Fong, right, his combo trigger you have to land a final strike on an enemy with physical susceptibility or breach. So if you're trying to get a combo skill for Li Fong, you can't just mindlessly mash character skills and boom, you get a combo skill from Li Fong. No, you're gonna first have to land a final strike on an enemy with physical susceptibility. And when we take a look at his battle skill, which is Turbid Avatar, he inflicts physical susceptibility. So right off the bat, you guys should already understand. Li Fong, when you're using this character, you gotta use his his battle skill first, and then you gotta perform final strike with another character so that he can actually land his combo skill. And then it says over here, unleashes an aspect that performs a spear thrust to deal physical damage and grants link. I want you guys to pay attention to this word right over here, link. This is pretty much like a buff. It says that the next battle skill or ultimate cast by the team consumes the link buff and deals more damage, with battle skills getting a higher increase. Effects of the same type can stack but with diminishing returns. So in short, link is pretty much a buff that Li Fong grants to your allies. And this is the icon. When you see his icon, the character, like the entire team pretty much has the link buff. It gets a lot more interesting from here. So with Li Fong's ultimate, when he unleashes an aspect that slams an immovable of Vajra, whatever the hell that is, to deal physical damage and knockdown to all enemies in a large area of effect, then enemies are drawn towards the center of the area. After a while, enemies still within the Vajra slam area of effect will suffer another massive physical damage and knockdown. But here's the best part, guys. If the skill consumes a link, it deals additional massive damage. So you also have his ultimate that can literally consume the link buff. So you have two different options. Either you consume the link buff with other characters on your team, for example, Administrator or anybody else, or you can just use Li Fong's ultimate to deal more damage. I like it when there are so many options when you're playing with characters, right? You're not just doing the same thing over and over again, you have the same outcome. I can decide if I want to consume the link buff with other characters, or I can use Li Fong's ultimate to deal more damage. I like that a lot. But that is pretty much Li Fong. All right, that is Li Fong. That's what's going on. And for the Administrator, if you continue throughout the story, if you progress through the story, his first dupe is actually pretty solid, because his first dupe, it says consuming Originum crystals returns 50 skill points. So you pretty much have skill point recovery, more skill point recovery when you activate his first potential, which is pretty solid. So that's what's going on. I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys, a little overview as of to what's going on with Li Fong and Administrator. And of course, Li Fong isn't just restricted to the Administrator. You can use him with other physical DPS characters. I feel like later on down the line, Li Fong is going to be a lot stronger. Maybe he's going to be a lot weaker, who knows? But as up to right now, he's very, very strong with Administrator. Now, we're going to go ahead and put Li Fong's kit into the test. I'm going to show you guys exactly how this combo between Li Fong and Administrator works. Now, this is our team right over here. We have Li Fong, we got this girl right over here, Ardelia, and we have Tank Mommy right over here. She's pretty fun too. We're going to talk about her later. But remember, guys, we have the link buff. All right, we have the link buff. We have Li Fong's skill as well. Okay, we have a skill. In order for the link buff to work, in order for his combo skill to trigger, we have to land physical susceptibility on the enemy. We have to land a physical debuff on the enemy in order for his combo skill to actually work. All right, so we're gonna open the fight up with Li Fong's skill. So boom, you guys are gonna see, you guys see that little mark on the enemy? You want to focus on that enemy, and boom, we're gonna use Li Fong's skill. And you guys can see we have the link buff, and we can go ahead, use our skill. Look at that, 26,000 damage. We're going to do the same thing again. And then you guys can see we have a certain amount of time in order for us to land that final strike, and boom, Li Fong skill. And now we have the link buff again. And now we can go ahead and use his ult. 21,000 damage. That's that, right? So like, of course, it's very quick, but like if you don't really understand what's happening, you're gonna be like, oh shit, what the hell is going on? Because there is actually a duration. You have a certain amount of time to land that final strike. And then let me show you guys why. All right, so let's run it back. So what we're gonna do this time, again, we're gonna use Leaf Long skill. All right. So boom, he inflicted that mark on the enemy, and you guys can see that little the little debuff right there is like the duration is going down, right? The timer's going down, and watch. Once it reaches 0, the debuff is gone. So now I have to use Leaf Long's skill again, and then now I actually have to land that final strike before it's too late. Oh shit, we about to die. Get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here. Okay, we're good, we're good, we're good. We got the Link skill. That was a close one. Go ahead and pop this. Go. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're good, we're good, we're good. That was a lot going. There was a lot going on right there. Let's go ahead and trigger it again. Now, if the enemy dies, right? If the enemy dies with the debuff, I think it moves on to the next character. You guys can see it went to another unit. I think it moves on. I have no clue. I have to test that out later on. But just remember that when you're using Li Feng's skill, you want to make sure that you are going to land that final strike immediately before time runs out, because time runs out, well, you pretty much just wasted his skill for no reason. You guys can see we got the final strike, and boom, now we have the link buff. Now we can go ahead and get that additional damage. Look at that, 26,000 damage. Yo, the amount of damage you deal with that link buff is actually crazy. So that is literally the Li Feng and Administrator combo. Now this time we're gonna go ahead and fight a boss. Let me move my camera down here, but we're gonna go ahead and fight a boss, and we're pretty much going to include Ember into this combo string because we're just focusing on Li Feng and Administrator with the whole link buff. But this time Ember, the reason why Ember is in this team is because Ember, since she is a tank unit, she can actually stagger the enemy a lot more. When we look at her basic attack, you guys can see she deals 25 stagger with her basic attack, which is honestly insane. So she has 25 stagger, and when you look at other characters, you guys can see 19 stagger, right? 18 stagger, 18 stagger. So that's the reason why I have Ember on the team. Of course, she applies shield, but she has more stagger, which is really, really good, and she can break the enemy. And when you break the enemy, right, you have the finisher move, which is going to allow your character to pretty much deal a lot of damage. So that is pretty much the combo here. Holy shit, my health is low. All right, we're gonna open up with the Li Feng skill. Land that final strike. Boom. We got the combo skill. And now we're gonna go ahead and pop his ultimate to consume the link buff. And then we're gonna go ahead and use Ember. We can pretty much get more stagger. Now, if you're going up against elite enemies, you're gonna get like a guaranteed finisher with like enemy trash mobs. It's guaranteed. I've seen it multiple times. Right? Keep going here. Right behind this. By the way, this is pretty sick. I can't wait to see, you know, them implement more bosses that are gonna be difficult in the future. This guy, I mean, these bosses, they're really easy. Not really hard at all. Oh, that. I can't wait to get Ardelia's weapon. Ardelia's weapon is gonna be sick. Okay, this time we want to go ahead and use Li Feng's ultimate, because I want to show you guys how much damage he can deal with his ultimate when he consumes the link buff. There we go. So now we got the finisher. Boom, that's that. So that is pretty much a team rotation there. Now, of course, I couldn't use Li Feng's ultimate because it took, you know, a hot minute for his ultimate to, you know, activate. Maybe there's like some sort of tool I can use to give him more energy. I think that would be a lot better. But yeah, that is pretty much the team there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys, you know, the whole finisher thing, because whenever you use Ember, Li Fong, and Administrator combo, you get a guaranteed finisher. It happens all the time against enemy trash mobs or elite enemies. Alright, here we go. So now we have Li Fong's ultimate. Nice. Gonna learn that combo skill. Then now we do this. And look at that. Finisher. Already. You see what I'm saying? When you use this combo, you literally get a finisher. Now, we already consumed the link buff with MC. But just imagine if we had the link buff right there. That would have dealt a lot more damage with Li Fong. Like, that would have actually been insane. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the whole, Li Fong and Administrator combo. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because I've seen this take, a very common take where people are saying that when it comes to the gameplay in Arknights Endfield is extremely brain dead. It's very simple. It's just spamming basic attack and just using character skills. Nothing deeper than that. And to a certain degree, I understand that take, and I feel like it is a valid take to a certain degree because it's really just you mashing same buttons over and over again, right? But of course, when you take a closer look into character kits, for example, Li Fong and what they can do, like when it comes to spamming basic attack, you realize that spamming basic attack actually triggers his combo skill, and that allows him to trigger the link effect, which is going to buff your allies' damage. So the fact that they're using simple things like basic attack and final strike, and they're taking that as an opportunity to pretty much enhance gameplay in a certain way, I like that, right? And I hope they do that with more characters later on in the future. Li Fong, perfect start. He is a standard banner character, so it's not going to be that hard for you to get the character. And honestly, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I feel like Li Fong has like a 50% drop rate, meanwhile every other character has like a 10% drop rate. Like, he's literally the Ling Yang of this game. Like, it's insane. When you look at Ember, her combo trigger, when you receive damage from enemies, she's going to leap at the target enemy and unleash a heavy slam. So like every character has a combo trigger. But Li Fong's is my favorite one so far. His combo triggers it's just fun. It's really fun so far. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Just want to give you guys, a better look when it comes to Arknights Endfield gameplay, and to really show you guys the potential. Of course, you can feel free to disagree and say, the gameplay is slob, whatever. You can feel free to say that. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but me personally, I feel like there's definitely something there, and they can go really far with it as long as they're willing to put in effort. Like, later on down the line, if I see that the gameplay is stagnating over time, then of course I'm going to complain about it. But I feel like this is satisfying in a way, and me understanding how Li Fong's combo skill works, and of course his skill, like me understanding his whole kit is rewarding in a certain way, and it's very satisfying. So that is it. Hope you guys have a good one, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Adios.